I forgot to unmute myself. Hello. My name is Liz Ashley and welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to be talking about Trump's Twitter crash out because it's hilarious and I wanted to talk about something funny. We're also going to look at some of the moments of RFK's latest hearing, and he's insane. And then we're going to talk about the jobs numbers and more. Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today. And if you have not already, please subscribe, like, comment, all of the things. Help me grow my channel. Yeah. All right. So today we're going to get into the headlines. I didn't really have a question. But hello, you said you finished Quantum Leap and it was good, but the time travel often doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I really liked it. I thought it was good. But watch Steins Gate. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I love watching shows and stuff. They're so fun. But all right, we're going to get into today's headlines first. All right, so today there has been a lot going on, but I picked out some things today. So first, Donald Trump had this whole press conference. Well, not a press conference, but you know how he does when he signs his executive orders. He always has cameras around. He has to be on TV all the time. And so he signed an executive order today to make the, I forgot what it was. It was the Department of Defense, right? Yeah, Department of Defense, the Department of War, which is crazy. But I guess it's just being honest. So that's where we are. The U.S. imposes sanctions on Palestinians who ask for Israel war crimes probe. This is insane. I mean, it's just cruel. It's just cruelty. And Donald Trump continues to be extremely cruel to the Palestinians and let Israel do whatever it wants. 475 people have been detained by ICE at a Hyundai factory. This is crazy. This is insane. Like, again, just the cruelty of it all. And 475 people. Like, this is literally the Gestapo. Like, this is crazy. This one's actually funny. So those are really depressing, the ones above, but this one's actually really funny. So Mayor Adams says that he will not quit the race and he's the only person that can win against Zohran Mamdani. Because Trump what he's been doing is he's trying to give a job within his administration to either Curtis Sliwa or Eric Adams. And I never thought Curtis Sliwa was going to do it because of course he wouldn't. But Eric Adams was the one that everyone was like, maybe he will take the job. I didn't think he would. And he did not. He did not take this job. Oh my God. Crazy. That made me laugh so hard when I saw that today. He said, I will not take the job, and I'm the only one that can win against Zohran, which is delusional. Just so delusional by every measure. But Trump obviously doesn't want Zohran to be mayor. And so Zohran actually kind of challenged Donald Trump to a debate. I don't think that's going to happen, but I like the energy. I love it. I would love to see that because he would demolish him, just like demolish him. Because Zohran is so smart. All right. And then last but not least, Trump says that the Justice Department has done its job with the Epstein files. Okay. We all know what that means. He wants people to shut up about it. He will not be in Saudi Arabia. No, so that's what they were looking at. They were looking at maybe giving him the job to be the ambassador of Saudi Arabia. But he said he wasn't going to take the job. So far he's not going to take the job. And he thinks that he can win against Zohran, that he would be the only one that could win against Zohran, which is delusional, which is deluded. And Eric Adams, his ego is so big, and I don't understand how, and I don't understand why, because he has like no chance. He has no chance. I think he has like little to no percentage of the votes. Like, it's really insane that he thinks. I don't know why he's running. I mean, it's so delusional, but yeah, that's what Eric Adams is doing, and I find it just hilarious. I find it very funny. It makes me laugh. So yes, go Zoran. I'm very excited for him. Now we're going to get into the topic of the day, which is going to be really fun. I wanted to do something fun because it's been a long week. It's been a busy week for me. And so I just want to do something fun. And so we're going to do that today. Let's get into the topic of the day. All right, so let me get to the screen. I don't have my screen up, but Donald Trump is obviously upset or kind of going crazy. I don't know what's going on. He is trying to distract people from the Epstein files. And I don't mean like his horrible policy or his ICE. Like, I think that's all just like he wants to do that. But Donald Trump is crashing out over Twitter. And he was doing this yesterday and then like into this morning. Yesterday. And this whole week, people have been talking about the survivors and their press conference. And like I mentioned, when we talked about that, I think that there were literal jets flying over the press conference. And so they couldn't talk. And those things are loud. Like, I've been around them. They're loud as hell. And so they couldn't even talk. You couldn't hear. They would have to stop talking. And he is trying to do anything. And just like I just read that headline that Donald Trump says that they're done. That's it. He says that they've done their job. This man is so crazy. Like, he's trying everything. And his latest crash out has been on Twitter. And it's quite funny, actually. I don't know why it's not showing up. Let's see if it'll show up. Maybe it's because I moved. Okay. Anyway, so this is his latest one of him in front of Mount Rushmore. I've never been there. But it's him in front of it because he wants to be on it so bad. And dear God, I hope that never happens. Okay, this is the most insane one. This is insane. This is J.B. Pritzker. And then who's the other guy? I don't know. I can't tell really. I know that's J.B. Pritzker. And then is that Chris Christie? Yes, I think that's Chris Christie. So J.B. Pritzker and Chris Christie are having a sumo wrestling fight. So he's doing all this on AI right now. Do you see this? This is insane. This is the president of the United States. We're going to talk about the job numbers at the end. We're going to talk about the job numbers and how bad they are. And a lot of things have been coming out about just how bad the job numbers are and just how bad other countries and other people perceive us and perceive the United States, which I don't blame them. Okay, I understand. But think about this. You have all of these people from other countries and they're looking at us and they're like, oh my God, what is wrong with them? Like, what is wrong with Americans? And then you have our president posting this insane shit. Like, it's just so dumb. I don't get it. I don't understand. This one is a Cracker Barrel thing, which I think is so stupid. And Cracker Barrel, yeah, because now they went back to the old logo. And he's like taking it as a win. Like, again, our job numbers are, oh my God, he's dancing. Wait, I'm sorry, whoops. Oh my God, this is actually insane. I didn't see this part where they had him dancing. This is insane. But he did this because he takes, God, there's even more. I had to go on Truth Social, okay? It's truly scary experience, and we're gonna go through it in just a second. But this is insane. He really thinks that like this is a win, because when they changed their logo, Donald Trump was like, hey, why did you change your logo? What the hell? And so he's literally taking this as a win. He thinks this is like some big win that Cracker Barrel went back to their old freaking logo. Again, President of the United States, our jobs numbers are down, shit is hitting the fan, and this man is posting AI shit and thinks that having the new Cracker Barrel logo is somehow a win. Like, oh my God, it's insane. Just insanity. Insanity. Okay, and then this is Gavin Newsom in a Trump 2028 hat, and it's very concerning that, you know, even my dad, like I was talking to my dad about it, and like even he is like, I don't know why he has all those hats, like what are these hats? And I'm like, thank you, the hats are ridiculous. And he's been showing, he has a collection of hats, he has a collection of Trump hats, and he's been showing world leaders, anytime they come, he shows them this shelf of Trump hats, which is insane. It's again, when other people look at this country, how do you not look at us and be like, what is wrong with you all? What is wrong with you all? Like, your president is posting AI videos. He has a cupboard full of hats saying Trump 2028, which is illegal. It doesn't matter, but anyway, has the Trump, it was right about everything hats, all this kind of shit, and you're literally taking world leaders to look at this collection of hats. We're not a serious nation. This is not serious. This is not serious. This is not a serious nation when you have a president doing this shit. Like, what the fuck? This is crazy. I do think, because didn't Gavin Newsom come out with like those new hats that like he's king or something? Listen, I seriously, I don't like billionaires, but I would take JB Pritzker is doing, I feel like JB Pritzker is doing really good right now. I would take him over Gavin Newsom any day of my life. Can we stop with Gavin Newsom? Like, I do not like him. Okay, he is horrible. He's just horrible. And he has his own hats like that, so I guess that's kind of fitting. I don't know. This one is this one is just stupid. It's of Adam Schiff, and I'm not really sure what it's supposed to. What does this mean? Like, what is this supposed to do? Like, what am I supposed to gain? Like, what am I supposed to learn from this? You know, because he always calls him like Shifty Adam Schiff or whatever. But like, what does him having a long neck have to do with that? Like, what is this? What is this? This is insane. This is like psychotic behavior. Like, seriously, this is psychotic behavior. This man is losing his mind. Oh my God. Okay, I think that was it. Those are the ones that I saw. And then, long neck liar. Okay, I guess, yeah, sure. I guess that makes sense. It's funny because he's just like posting them. Like, he's not even saying anything else. He's just posting them. And then he has like, I don't even want to see the comments. Because I'm like, I don't know. When I first came in here on Twitter to try to find this stuff, the first tweet I saw was a Marjorie Taylor Greene tweet, and I was like, oh God. Like, it's funny because she's been at like she was at the press conference with the survivors, and then she's been talking out against Israel, and so, you know, everyone's talking about her and like, wow, she's like the only sane one. But then you get on Twitter and you see her post, and you're like, no, she's just a psychotic. She's just coming to these ends in like a psychotic manner, you know? I feel like she's getting to the right conclusions, but like the theories behind those conclusions are insane. Like, she's an insane person. I actually, I'll show you that one, because we're gonna go on True Social, and we're gonna go on True Social and we're gonna go down that rabbit hole, which is crazy. But I want to oh my god, I forgot about her dumbass book. Okay, this is what she posted. This is the first thing I saw when I came into Twitter today, when I was looking for those Donald Trump tweets. For the record, I'm not going to ever eat Bill Gates' fake meat, which is so insane. It would actually be really good for the environment, but whatever. Bugs. Nobody wants to eat bugs. Nobody wants that. I guess there are some people who want that, but I've always thought I've never liked that option. Like, nobody wants to eat bugs. That's crazy. Some people do, but I'm not with it. I'm not doing it. But anyway, okay. For the record, I'm not going to ever eat Bill Gates' fake meat, bugs, take the never-ending vaccines, or get gene editing. Where did gene editing come from? Where did that come from? Who, what? Excuse me? And then she said, I still haven't forgotten about Zuckbucks. This woman is insane. So like, she's upset because Trump just had this whole like dinner thing or whatever with Mark Zuckerberg and all these, other billionaires, tech billionaires. And so he's doing that. And a lot of people are like, hey, that's kind of weird. Like, weren't you supposed to be like anti all these big tech guys? Because weren't they restricting your free speech and all this bullshit? But now that they're kissing his ass, Trump's like, oh yeah, of course, come here. And Mark Zuckerberg said that he was going to give like $6 billion or something, and was caught on a hot mic telling Trump that he didn't know what number to say. So he just randomly said 6 billion. So none of this is real. He's saying that he's going to spend $6 billion to do some kind of like factory. None of this is real. None of this is real. This is all fake. Okay. All of this like crazy money shit that Donald Trump and all these other people just like spit out is not real. That's why he looked at Trump, and there's a hot mic of Mark Zuckerberg saying, oh, I didn't know what number to say. But everyone's mad about that. And so this is how Marjorie Taylor Greene reacts. That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes she can get to the right conclusion, but everything behind it is just like psychosis. Like everything behind it is just like psychotic. And that was the first thing I saw when I went into Twitter today. So I thought that would be funny to show you. I also saw this, and I don't know what this means. Laura Loomer said, I'm just going to pretend like tonight never happened. I have no idea. Is she talking about the Zuckerberg thing too? I have no idea what she's talking about. I was like, wow, okay. I need to know what's going on in the right sphere. But I don't. Okay. So now we're going to go somewhere that is like the depths of this despair. Which is True Social. I've been scrolling through this, and it's truthfully insane. It's so insane. Why aren't you talking about Trump being an informant for the FBI? Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't heard that. My CRISPR stock's going up. Bugs are not scaling. Yeah, no one is doing that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the whole bugs thing, like, listen, okay, I don't like animal agriculture. I'm against it, not a fan. But I've never understood the alternative to be bugs, because wouldn't that just be the same thing? Wouldn't that end up just being the same thing, because you would need to produce much more, and bugs are also very important to our ecosystem, and so it just wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So their whole outrage over bugs is just really ridiculous and stupid, because it's not happening, and it's not practical. It's not practical at all. It's really stupid, and it's. Like, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene actually believes this shit, but honestly, other than that, it's just like rage bait. It's not real. It's really just not real. There are some people who believe that it's like an alternative, but I think those people are very few and far between. Okay, I don't think that that's like an actual thing. All right. But anyway, so this is Truth Social. This is my first time in Truth Social. Okay, I've never been in Truth Social. This is my first time. And it's kind of insane. Okay, so I know this is something that people have been talking about, but this is one of his truths. Now, this website is just like not even usable. Like, it's just not usable. It's so weird to use. And like, I understand that I didn't want to make an account. I was like, I don't want to make an account. But it's just like, it's not usable. Anyway, the confused and badly failing Democratic Party did nothing about the okay, wait. So he's talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and this is all after this press conference and everything like that. And everyone's been asking about it. And then I just told you earlier that he said that they're done. He did their job with the Epstein files. The government did their job with the Epstein files. He said that. And so this is him just like desperately trying to like please not have to deal with this anymore. It's really crazy, honestly. The confused and badly failing Democratic Party did nothing about Jeffrey Epstein while he was alive, except for befriend him, socialize with him, travel to his island, and take his money. They knew everything there was to know about Epstein, but now, years after his death, they, out of nowhere, are seeming to show so much love and heartfelt concern. I'm sorry. It's not funny because this is the reason this is funny is because it's actually his base that was like on this and that wanted this and that has been mad at him. And the Democrats also are like, okay, yeah, let's go after him for this because he is a criminal, because he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein and has let Ghislaine Maxwell go to like a prison she should not be in, where she gets like work day passes and shit, which is insane. And so it's funny to me that he keeps blaming the Democrats and he keeps making it seem like this is a Democrat hoax when it's not, dude. It's your own followers that are mad at you for this, man. This is you. This is all you. Okay, so. Okay, let's go. Okay. They out of nowhere are seeming to show such love and heartfelt concern for his victims. Does anybody really believe that? Where were they during his very public trials and for all of those years before his death? The answer is nowhere to be found. And it's funny because, first of all, he died while Donald Trump was president. Second of all, Pam Bondi had a chance to actually like prosecute him in Florida, and she was very easy on him. So all of this is just projection, really. And it's wild to see. It's wild to see. The now dying after the DOJ gave thousands of pages of documents in full compliance with a very comprehensive and exacting subpoena from Congress, ! And the files that they most recently released that were like thousands or whatever, most of them were redacted and most of them were files that were already released. And so they just keep trying to like, they're very desperate. They don't know what to do and they don't know how to do it. Oh my God, there's someone in here. Hi. I guess there's a conservative in here. Hello. That's why you're laughing. No, I'm laughing because it's funny because like Donald Trump being connected to Jeffrey Epstein is like the most obvious thing in the world. And so it's funny to me that like you can't see that. It's funny to me because it's so obvious. But it's okay. It's okay. If you think I'm lying, whatever. Why is he acting like this then? I think his own actions make him look more suspicious than anything that I could ever say. So, that's what I think. You think Donald Trump was an informant for the FBI? Okay. Okay. Epstein case was only brought back to life by the radical left Democrats because they are doing so poorly with the lowest poll numbers in history of the party, 16%, which they do have low poll numbers and they deserve the low poll numbers. Democrats are shit and have not been fighting back. At least some of them are trying with this particular instance, but for the most part, yeah, no, they're shit. They're not doing anything. But it's funny because it's not the radical left that is going after him for this. It's his own base. There are people in his own base that are getting so frustrated with him because he's not doing it. There's people like Alex Jones. Didn't one of his employees just quit because he said he couldn't talk about Trump and couldn't be as critical as he wanted to about Trump? Like, no, it's his own base that brought this about, that wanted this. Like, I haven't heard from Dan Bongino. Where's Dan Bongino? Where'd he go? Where's Dan Bongino? I haven't heard of him in a minute. All right. Okay. While the Republicans are doing so well among their highest approval numbers, that is not true. The party has ever had. That's not true at all. The Dems don't care about the victims, as proven by the fact that they never did before. When has he ever cared about the victims? He said that Jeffrey Epstein stole. He said that, wasn't it like Virginia Giuffre, that she was working for him, and he said that Jeffrey Epstein stole his staff, and that's why he was mad at Jeffrey Epstein. Not anything else. Not why she was with Jeffrey Epstein. No, that he stole his staff. Okay. Okay. All right. This is merely another Democrat hoax like Russia, and all the others in order to deflect and distract from the greatest Republican president and the record-setting failure of the administration and Democratic Party. Okay, so I can't read all of it because I'm not going to make a Truth Social account. But this is what I'm saying. Do you see what this is? Do you see these ads on Truth Social? This is insane. Like, this is crazy. And then you scroll down, and this is what I could go through here and just look at the ads. A parasite cleanse. This is insane. This is an insane platform. Okay, Jerry Nadler, one of the most disgusting congressmen in the USA, is at long last calling it quits. He's finally leaving Congress. I've been beating this bum for 40 years, first as New York City developer, where he opposed me for no reason at every corner. No, everyone hates Trump in New York. Everyone hates Trump in New York because he never paid his workers, ever. He's like known for not paying his workers. He's like notorious for not paying his workers. Okay. But could never stop me from getting the job done. And then, as your president, we're this psychotic nut job together with crazy Nancy Pelosi, impeached me twice and lost, wasting millions of dollars in taxpayer money. It will be a great day for the USA when Nadler and pathetic lightweight is out of office and leaves our beautiful and now very safe, all in exclamation points, Washington, D.C. Make America great again, President DJT. And then this one, he was a little jealous. You could tell that he had a little FOMO. So, in China, she had they were meeting, and then he also had a military parade and invited a lot of, other world leaders. But Donald Trump wasn't invited to any of this. Donald Trump, the guy who's like obsessed with dictators, obsessed with strong men, was not invited. He wasn't invited to any of it. And so I think he's just a little bit jelly. Looks like we've lost India and Russia to deepest, darkest China. May they have a long and prosperous future together. President Donald J. Trump. And then post this picture. Which is actually not really funny because, like, more countries are going to start doing this. They're going to start making more deals with China and not us, which is, I mean, totally understandable. And you can bear that in the numbers that are coming out. But, I mean, of course, they're going to start going to other places because we are not a stable country, because we have a madman in charge. And this is not a stable country, okay? When you don't even know what the tariffs are going to be from one day to the next, when you don't know what this man is, excuse me, what this man is going to do from one day to the next, how do you expect these countries to sit here and be like, yeah, sure, we'll do business with you? That seems like a totally sound idea. It's crazy. And so, like, this is very funny, but it's also, I think it's a sign of what's to come with our international relations. And You know, I mean, he's doing, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He keeps just going after all these different countries and then expects them to just bow down to him, and it's just not working. Okay. The chat's going crazy. Okay, I'm just gonna all right. Okay. All right, this one's really funny. So, like I said earlier, Donald Trump really thought he was winning when he mentioned Cracker Barrel, and then like almost like the next day they changed their logo back. This is another one of his wins. Again, nothing to do with the economy, nothing to do with anything helpful. But this is one of his wins that he has come out with. So, from a Delta captain, I thought you would get a kick out of this. Delta's office memo to employees. Big changes. Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. And the liberals thought notice to airmen was racist, which I don't understand how airmen's racist. They probably were saying that because there can be because people can be a pilot at any gender. And so that I might be missing something, but I don't think they thought it was racist. It was probably more of like anyone can be a pilot type of thing. But whatever. Wait, okay. So anyway, okay, let's start over. And the liberals thought notice to airmen was racist. So and this is not even typos. So they changed it to notice air missions. Delta just changed it back to notice airman. Excuse me. I think they are finally embracing MAGA. And so then he has it down here where it shows the changes. This is just so stupid. Like, who cares? Who cares? This is so stupid. He's like, this is a win. This is a win. They're finally going MAGA. This is a win. And it's like, this is so dumb. Like, what does this even do? Like, what is this even doing? What is this even doing? Oh my God, it's just so insane. Okay, and then I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So that was the fun. That was the little fun we have with Donald Trump's literal crash out on Twitter and True Social, because this is who we have as our president. But to continue going on, look at this ivermectin. Wait. Okay, never mind. We're gonna look at something else in a second. But now, no, we have to look at these ads because this is actually just insane. Look at this ivermectin, now $2 per cap. Wait. There were like other ones. Of course. They have Charlie Kirk on here selling ivermectin. This is insane. This is an insane platform. Okay, this is the one it's giving me right now, but earlier it was showing me some other stuff. I don't know what it was. It was like, maybe this is like the only sponsor that they have. What is it? The All Family Pharmacy. They have a parasite cleanse. And then they have ivermectin. It's just insane. This is an insane platform. Wait, I'm waiting to see if I see another ad. No, there's not another ad coming up. Damn it. Okay. Oh, man, that was funny. That was really funny. Okay, so speaking of Donald Trump and the Epstein files, James O'Keefe, who used to work at Project Veritas and then got fired because he was using funds. Wasn't he using funds to do like plays and movies and stuff? As a theater kid, I approve. But he's not like the greatest person in the world. And he does these like, they're pretty exploitative, I would say, interviews and stuff. He goes on dating apps and then he has people go on these dates and then they secretly record them. And he's been doing this for a while. This time, he had a DOJ deputy chief admit, God, I can't talk today. Okay. We're gonna start over. Okay, DOJ deputy chief admits that the government will redact every Republican while leaving all of the liberal Democratic people on the Epstein client list. Says Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to lower security prison as a benefit to keep her mouth shut. So let's watch this video. And let's see.
But those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal Democratic people in those files.
I think they visited that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
And also involved.
She got transferred to a minimum security prison too recently, which is against BOP policy because she's a convicted sex offender. They're offering her something to keep her mouth shut.
That was the acting deputy chief of the office.
Okay, so we don't have to watch him, but that's what was happening. And so he was basically saying, like, hey, if they do come out with these files, if something ever comes out, they're going to take all the Republican names off and they're just going to leave the Democrat names. And that the whole reason that they moved Ghislaine Maxwell to a lower security prison, even though it's not allowed, is because they wanted her to keep her mouth shut, which is like, duh. Duh. I think everyone knew that. I think everyone knew that she was lying when she said she never saw Bill Clinton or Donald Trump do anything bad. Again, when she added Bill Clinton in there, I knew she was lying. I was like, no, you're lying. You have to be lying, because if Donald Trump wasn't implicated, she would have been like, oh, Bill Clinton this and Bill Clinton that and da 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 da. But because this is how, to me, this is how you know he must be implicated, allegedly, because they wouldn't even say Bill Clinton was in the files. They wouldn't even say Bill Clinton did anything, even though most people assume and kind of know that he did because he was on the flight logs. And allegedly, but this is that's the craziest part about all of this, is like I do think that they would do something like that. Like, I do think that they would come out with files and they would redact everyone else's name and just leave the Democrats that have gone on there, which I still would want to know. And I would want them to also be held accountable. I think Bill Clinton should be held accountable 100%. I don't care. Like, I think everyone who is in there should be held accountable, which is why I'm happy that the survivors are creating their own list, because I don't think they're going to leave people out. You know, I think they're going to be brutally honest, which I'm glad. But it's so crazy, because I do think that they would do something like this, but I also think that there are people like Bill Clinton and like Hillary Clinton that probably have dirt on Donald Trump, and not even just them, probably other people too, that have dirt on Donald Trump. And so neither party has really done anything about it, because it's mutually assured destruction if anyone says anything. But Trump he's let his base have this, this is something that has been a big cornerstone in their base, and like what they've been talking about for a very long time. And so to just like all of a sudden just act like this has come out of nowhere and it's a hoax is crazy. And I think there are a good group of people who are coming to realize that. Not everyone, obviously, but I do think that there are some people who are like, oh shit, like he's lying about the Epstein files. Like, yeah, I think he is. But I thought that was wild, and I wanted to look at that because I do think that they would do something like that. But I do also think that the reason they're not naming Democrats, or they're not doing it yet, and they're just like not doing anything or releasing any names, is because it would be mutually assured destruction. Because if people have dirt on Trump, then I mean, if their name is in there, they have nothing to lose at that point, you know? So yeah. Okay. Let's see. Now we're going to talk. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat. Crazy things are happening in the chat. Okay, so, but that's fun. It's fun. Very fun to have a new person in the chat. All right. Okay, so this next one I wanted to talk about. We're getting off the Jeffrey Epstein stuff and Donald Trump stuff. This one is more left news. So Ken Klippenstein posted this earlier today.
And the reason I want to talk to you...
Okay. Ken Clippinside posted this earlier today, and David Pakman has been kind of going viral, which is funny because the other day we watched a video of him and he said, I don't want to talk about this stuff anymore. And obviously he's been going viral ever since he's been talking about it. So anyway, so he was basically saying that, you know, he thinks that there's just like this big divide between leftists and liberals, and that, or progressives or whatever, and that there's just a big divide in the left, and that, you know, I don't think they're a part of our team, or I don't think they're a part of our like camp, or they're not on our side anymore, or something like that. And I just thought that was so funny because I feel like this divide has kind of always existed, and this is like this is one of the first times that like a leftist or someone like to the left of like a David Pakman or Brian Tyler Cohen has actually gained traction with their criticism of them. Every other time it's just like, oh, leftists, these lefties are dividing the left. These lefties just want to, you know, they're never happy. But this is the first time I think a criticism has actually kind of like penetrated them a bit, and their reputations. And so I think they're just like, okay, well, we're done with the leftists. Like we're not going to talk about the leftists anymore because they're just not in our camp anymore. And so this is him talking to, out of all of the people in the world, Richie Torres. And this is what Ken Clippinside posted, but he said, David Pakman tells Rep. Richie Torres, when people ask me, who do you see right now as this sort of progressive, and this is why I say progressive doesn't have a meaning anymore. If you think that Richie Torres is progressive doesn't have a meaning anymore. When people ask me, who do you see right now as the sort of progressive that you'd like to be the head of this movement going forward? I think of you. So when David Pakman thinks of a leader in the progressive movement, he thinks of Richie Torres. That's an insane statement. And if you're trying to beat all these allegations of wanting to like, of trying to like have access and, you know, get money or whatever from the establishment, or, you know, you're supposed to stand up for the establishment, you're not beating those allegations with this, okay? Not beating them whatsoever. So, okay, let's watch it because it's insane.
On the progressive movement. And the reason I want to talk to you about this is I see you, really, when people ask me, who do you see right now as the sort of progressive that you like to be at the head of this movement going forward, I think of you. And there's a bunch of different reasons why. And unfortunately, there is right now a bit of a division, as I see it, on the left on a number of issues. That includes foreign policy. Certainly, the Israeli-Gaza situation has brought this into the forefront.
Yeah, the genocide that David Pakman doesn't want to talk about, never wants to speak about, and is saying, as the genocide is going on, as there's a famine, as there are people getting murdered for trying to get aid, he's saying that Richie Torres, the person who is getting shit tons of money from AIPAC and is like Israel's #1 defender, wouldn't listen to Adam Friedland when he was being vulnerable to him, is sitting here and saying that he should be the leader of the progressive movement. That is an insane statement. Isn't he also like pro cryptocurrency too? Isn't he getting like cryptocurrency money too? This is the what does progressive mean anymore then? Like, what does it stand for? And where's the red line? At what point do we have any standards? Like, this is crazy. And this is why I don't like progressive anymore. And I don't like that word anymore, because it doesn't mean anything. Because these centrist libs and these people like Pod Save America and all these people are sitting here saying that they're progressive, and they're not. Pod Save has maybe like become more progressive, has gone more to the left recently, which I think is a good thing, but they're still like, I mean, I wouldn't consider them like leftists or anything. And so it's just a very frustrating thing. It's very frustrating when you're trying to prop up these people that nobody wants, that nobody likes, that has zero charisma. This man barely has a personality. He is a robot. He is a robot, okay? And like, why do you think he should be why do you think he's the leader? At what point? Where? What about him is progressive? What about him says a leader? It's just insane. It's insane. And if we keep trying to prop up these milquetoast centrists who have no personality, we are not going to get anywhere. The Democrats are still going to have some of the lowest approval ratings that they're ever going to have, even though fascism is happening, because nobody likes people like Richie Torres. Like, it's so insane. This is so insane. Like, I just don't understand how this is supposed to be, how this is supposed to be the leader of the Progressive Party. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to happen. But I mean, David Pakman is not beating the allegations, okay? Like, this statement is a crazy thing to say after that article.
Front for a lot of people on the progressive movement. And the reason I want to talk to you about this is I see you really, when people ask me, who do you see right now as the sort of progressive that you like to be at the head of this movement going forward, I think of you. And there's a bunch of different reasons why. And unfortunately, there is right now a bit of a division, as I see it, on the left on a number of issues. That includes foreign policy. Certainly, the Israeli-Gaza situation has brought this into the forefront for a lot of people. On the progressive movement.
Okay.
And
that's it. I just had to talk about that real quick, because honestly, like, what's the point? Why are you doing this? Like, he just went viral. On Adam Friedland's show, and people were talking about just how insane it was watching him, and how emotionless he was, and how much he didn't care about Adam, and just like his sheer lack of empathy, like, whatsoever. I can't. No, we can't continue. We can't continue to keep having people like Richie Torres try to be leaders in this party, because it's going to get us nowhere. It's going to get us nowhere. And it's obviously a failing, it's a failing strategy, but somehow, it's always leftists that are the problem here. And I just think that that's not true. That's obviously not true. As we can see. But all right, so that was the topic of the day. I thought that stuff was a little fun. Now we're going to get into not so fun stuff. Now we're going to get into like important stuff that really sucks. So we're going to talk about the new job numbers that came out, and the new numbers that came out of the Trump administration that are horrible, that are horrifying, and very terrifying. And yeah, so let's get into that today. All right, here we go.
Breaking moments ago, jobs growth slowed to a crawl last month. I want to bring in CNN's Matt Egan, who joins me now.
Okay, wait. Richie Torres, honestly, literally, like, God, he's been getting so much money. I don't understand how like, nobody likes him. I would be surprised. I was trying to find the actual video of David Pakman saying that, but I couldn't find it. But I would like to see the comments. I would like to see his comment section, because apparently David Pakman's comment section right now is not a very happy place to be. Doesn't surprise me. Progressive always meant this apparently. Progressive always meant this apparently. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I hate it, because I feel like the right does that all the time. Like, I feel like the right takes words and they just drain them of all their meaning, and they just say them over and over and over and over and over again. And so when you say that word, it no longer has a meaning anymore, and it just becomes like a trigger word, you know. And then if you say it, someone just immediately writes you off because you said this one specific word, you know. And I hate that. Like, I hate it. It drives me insane. And I feel like that's what's happening on the left with like progressive. I think progressive just doesn't mean anything anymore. It has no meaning, because now all these centrist libs, or people who are, you know, I would say more in the center, are taking on this progressive label, even though their policies don't line up with that. And, you know, these commentators are taking up these labels, even though it doesn't always line up with that. And so it's a very frustrating development, and I honestly hate it. But okay, yes. Now, let's get in to this. Oh, sorry. I didn't know. I think maybe that person left the chat. I don't know. All right, let's get into the U.S. economy and the new job numbers, because they are not good. They're not good. It's a very terrifying thing. Okay.
Breaking moments ago, jobs growth slowed to a crawl last month. I want to bring in CNN's Matt Egan, who joins me now. So what are these numbers? What are we seeing in this?
Well, Omar, look, after years of resilience, the U.S. job market looks increasingly fragile, especially after the latest numbers that just came out. So this report just moments ago shows the U.S. economy added 22,000 jobs in August. That is very low. It's also just a fraction of the 77,000 jobs that had been expected. The unemployment.
And I think, wasn't there an article that came out the other day that said there's actually more unemployed people than there are job openings, which is what is actually very terrifying. Like, that's a very terrifying thing. And, you know, I think that a lot of people, conservatives or, you know, Republicans, have been saying this over and over there again. They're like, well, the economy's still fine. So, like, you know, the tariffs are obviously working. This is all obviously working. Why are you guys crying? And everyone kept saying, just wait. And like, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to be correct, but it is. This is what's happening, and you can see it. And so now that it's actually happening, and we'll watch this, we're going to watch someone in his administration try to cope with this after. But they're all saying like, oh, next year's job numbers will be really good. Next year's job numbers will be great. Like, the ones now, they may not be that good. But next year, don't worry. Next year, they'll be really good.
Employment rate went up to 4.3% from 4.2%. That was expected, but this is notable because this is the highest unemployment rate since October of 2021, and it breaks a stretch where the unemployment rate had kind of stayed in this very low range. Still relatively low, but moving in the wrong direction.
Yes.
The other big news here, though, is what happened as far as revisions.
And a lot of this is also because of what they're doing with government agencies. They're scaling down government agencies. They're defunding government agencies. And that is also the problem. That's getting rid of tons of jobs. And so this, as they keep doing this is just going to keep getting worse. And as the tariffs keep becoming more unpredictable and you know, worse, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And it's going to hurt small businesses the most, which is horrible, I think, and which is why I get so frustrated when Donald Trump or like conservatives are like, we love small businesses. So I'm like, okay, well then I don't understand why you like Trump. If you like small businesses, if you want small businesses to thrive, I don't understand why you think Trump is that person, because he obviously is not. The big beautiful bill was literally one of the largest wealth transfers from the proletariat, the regular citizens, American citizens, to the 1%. That literally is what that was. And now we're here, and now we are here, and it's going to continue to get worse as this bill continues to go into effect. And I just I don't understand how this is good for small businesses like they say they want, because it's just not.
We saw that July was revised a little bit higher. But more important was June. June was revised from a low number of just 14,000 jobs were added to now negative 13,000 jobs. It's not quite showing up on that bar chart, but June is the first month where the U.S. economy lost jobs since December of 2020 during COVID. So this breaks a nearly 5-year stretch of job growth, of uninterrupted job growth in the U.S. economy. That's the second longest stretch in U.S. history. But now it's over. And when we're digging into some of the sectors here, a couple things stand out. We're seeing a number of the goods producing sectors in the U.S. economy lose jobs, right?
Yes, and that's the other thing. Donald Trump has been saying that he's going to bolster manufacturing, that all these places, they're going to make all these factories, and they're investing so much money into our economy and into America and all this bullshit, right? None of that is real. That's why Mark Zuckerberg was on a hot mic saying, "Oh, I just said 6 billion." He didn't have a reason. He said I didn't know what to say. I just said 6 billion because he was just saying shit. He was just saying shit. He didn't mean it. And so they are literally just saying shit. And as you can see, manufacturing jobs have gone down. And so what? But they keep saying next year it'll be better. Next year it'll be better. I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think that's cope. And I think I think it's ridiculous to try to sugarcoat this, because they just, when they revised the numbers like a month or so ago, he fired the person in charge of that, even though they always revise the numbers. They always do that. That always happens. And now the numbers are even worse when his people are in there, when his person is in there. So where does that leave us? Where does that leave us? Obviously, this is not working. Obviously, this is not, nobody wants this.
We're talking about construction, lost 6,000 jobs in August. Mining and logging also lost jobs. Manufacturing lost jobs as well. 12,000 jobs for manufacturing, which is, I think, pretty notable, because one of the issues in this economy is all the uncertainty over trade policy, right?
Yep.
Tariffs are supposed to be supporting the manufacturing industry, but instead, the manufacturing industry is actually losing jobs for 4 months in a row. This is the unemployment rate going back to 2020. You see that massive spike on the left side of the screen. Of course, that was COVID, came down dramatically, stayed at historically low levels, but now on the right side of your screen, you can see it is starting to tick higher. So I think you got to put all of this into the bigger picture, right? We've gotten a number of different indicators showing that this job market really is starting to stall out. And you're looking at U.S. markets reacting. The Dow futures were down a little bit before this. They actually came up just a tiny bit from where they were.
Yeah, so I was watching Waj and Danielle Moody. I love watching both of them. But they were talking about this, and actually maybe it wasn't them. I was also listening to Breaking Points earlier. And they were talking about how, like, a lot of the reason that the stock market is going up is because all of this, like, uncertainty and the employment rate going up and, like, losing jobs, that is probably going to make the Fed make the rate lower. And so because of that, that's why the stock market is going up. And so people were on Breaking Points, they were joking. They were like, well, maybe, Donald Trump will finally get what he wants. But isn't it crazy that that's how our economic system works? That stocks and all this shit goes up when people don't have jobs, when the unemployment rate goes up, because they know that rates will get cut. Isn't that crazy? That, like, that's how our economic system works. It's it's wild. It's not okay. But yeah, so that's why that they're going up. And it's also really crazy to see that shit go up, and how in parallel how regular people are feeling, and then having the stock market and seeing how that's going up. It's insane to see that, because it just shows that means nothing, like to a regular person, to just like a regular American citizen. Like, that means almost nothing other than it affects your 401k and stuff like that a lot of the time. But other than that, it's like it's not an indicator of American society and American citizens and how well they're doing in their lives. Like, it's not a good indicator. The stock buybacks must have a huge influence. Oh, 100%. Wasn't Richie Torres? Wasn't there an article? I just saw another. Speaking of Richie Torres, when we were talking about Richie Torres earlier, wasn't there an article that he just like dropped some stocks and then he might have had like some insider knowledge on it? Anyway, allegedly. But he's a progressive, you guys. He's a progressive. We should want him to be our leader. Crazy.
Not a major reaction, I think, from investors. I think that's because in a lot of ways, this report, it probably seals the deal on an interest rate cut later this month from the Federal Reserve. Wall Street was already thinking it was basically a slam dunk. And I think that this latest weakness, including the fact that the unemployment rate is up to a nearly 4-year high, I think that's probably going to seal the deal on a rate cut from the Fed, which is obviously something the White House has been calling for. Of course, they wanted a cut because of low inflation. That's probably not the reason, right?
Inflation's been going up also. So every time Donald Trump gets up there and lies and says prices are going down, there's no inflation, all that is lies. It's all lies. Inflation did go up. It did go up. So it just lies. He's just lying. He just says shit. He just says it's word vomit all the time. Everything out of his mouth is literally a lie.
The reason would be because of low hiring.
And of course, this is the first jobs report since, the controversy over the regular reporting of jobs numbers last month. And so even these numbers could get revised in the future, but as you just laid out in June, the numbers could also get revised down.
Right, absolutely. Look, revisions are normal. It happens, right? As the BLS gets new survey responses in from the businesses they talk to, they're going to update their numbers just like a meteorologist who updates their hurricane forecast when they get new data. Unfortunately, these updates, though, they've been mostly coming into the downside and again showing that hiring has really stalled out here.
And it's negative in June. It's just the floor of that graph is zero.
Negative, exactly.
We can't see it. Matt Egan,
thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no. The floor is at 0 and it's below that. It's negative. It's negative for June. Yeah, that's that's the craziest part about all this is that it's literally going negative, and he ran on the economy, and there were so many people thought that he was going to make the economy better and everything was going to be so much better. And there are a lot of people who don't follow politics, that are not, either, that are not on either side or part of any party or whatever. And they voted for him because they believed him, because there's this misconception that Republicans somehow are better on business and the economy, which is just never true. Emma Vigland shared a tweet or shared a graph, and so did the Majority Report. And literally, out of the last recessions that we've had, all of them have been Republicans except for one. Jimmy Carter was the one Democrat, and the rest were Republicans. And so it's really insane that there is this notion that they are somehow better on the economy, because they never are. They never are. It's always a power grab. It's always a money grab. They're always taking money from the American citizens and giving it to the 1%. That is what they always do. And I'm not saying that the Democrats are just a million times better. They're not. But at least they don't cause recessions. At least they don't cause this shit to happen. At least they have low unemployment rates. And it's just this huge misconception that Republicans are somehow better on this shit. And the one thing I will say is the Democrats don't have a good narrative, and they've never been good at fighting back against this narrative on the economy. Never have they been good at it. And so they haven't filled the void, and they've just let the Republicans be seen as the economically fiscal party, even though they're not, even though they're horrible. Every time they come into office, the economy gets worse, and the Democrats have to come in and then try to kind of fix it, and then they never take enough action. It's always these little incremental steps, so it doesn't really fix it all that much. And so then people get upset, and then they vote for a Republican, and we just have this cycle going over and over and over again. And every single time it's the American people, it is citizens, it's regular citizens that always get hurt, and the 1% always make it out. They always do better. And it's just it's mind-boggling, honestly, that Republicans continue to have that. People can still think that about them, but hopefully that's fading now. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Who knows, man? A lot of people really did believe the economic stuff and said that, oh, well, I don't care if he's racist. I don't care if he's a piece of shit. I don't care if he's a liar. I don't care if he's a sexual predator. Like, I'm going to vote for him anyway because of the economy. And now look at the economy. And every single time someone on the left said that this was going to happen, we were called hysterical, crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. They're melting down. Here we are, man. Here we are, right where we said we were going to be. So... crazy, just crazy. LOL, no red. I know, I don't know why. It's kind of insane that they just have, they have that graph and they don't have it under. They just have it at 0. Why did they do that? You're right. Why did they do that? There's just like a section there where there's nothing. It should have gone down, but it didn't. I don't know. I feel like a lot of these news stations are trying to still appease the administration while giving bad news. And it's, I don't know why they continue to do this. They're not helping. They're making it worse by trying to appease it or I mean, they're very honest here, which I'm glad they were. But, I feel like a lot of these news stations, that's what they're doing. They're trying to normalize these things or appease the administration in these little ways. And it's just so stupid. Just stop it. Crazy, but always right. Yeah. Orange man after the ball with the job numbers, 100%. And he fired the person before. But you were right earlier when you said that, that they have no, the person who's over the numbers has no, they don't calculate the numbers. They're not the one calculating them, right? And they have nothing to do with it. They just run the department or whatever. And so, him changing the person didn't mean anything because that person who was over it was not calculating the numbers. But it doesn't matter. They don't care. It doesn't matter. So we're gonna listen to someone in his administration try to cope with the numbers. Because who knows what's gonna happen. I'm really interested to see the continuing narrative around this, because right now the narrative is next year it'll be better. I'm wondering how long that's going to last and how long that's going to stick before people start getting even more upset. So we'll see what this narrative turns into. But let's watch this.
President Trump knows that we're super optimistic about the future of the jobs numbers because we're seeing a massive blowout in capital spending and new factory construction, something that happened because of the tax reforms that we had. So people are allowed to expense factories. Capital spending is growing at a rate. It was about 8% over the first half of the year. It's accelerating in the third quarter, which is why GDP now has the third quarter at about 3%. And so, all the indicators that we're seeing are that inflation is low and economic growth is solid.
None of this is real, okay? Because a lot of the numbers, like the Mark Zuckerberg 6 billion number, are not real. This is not real. It's not actually real. There are not factories being built. The only things that are being built are data centers, which are very dangerous to the communities that they've been put in and have been poisoning the communities that they've been put in and have been taking up all the energy, and people have might have to start doing rolling blackouts because these data centers need so much energy. And there was going to be one in St. Peter's, actually. St. Charles. Yeah, St. Charles, Missouri. There's going to be one in St. Charles, but the community actually came together and pushed it out, and it's not happening. And now there's all these reports of all of these different politicians that were tied to helping this, that were a part of helping this. So they were being corrupt. Of course they were corrupt. They were tied to the company in some way and helping push this data center being built there. So of course, 100%, of course they're corrupt. That's what I'm saying. Local government does matter a lot. And there's also corruption in local government. So it is, I need to do a better job at paying attention to that. But That's all they're really building are these data centers. And a lot of these tech bros that, you know, like Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg, all these people, the reason that job numbers and stuff like that are also going down is because even though I don't think AI is doing that well and whatever, I mean, it is what it is. I don't think it's like, I don't know. I don't think AI is like good enough to take people's jobs, but it is taking people's jobs. But like there are people who are trying to use AI as a job replacement, you know, and that's eventually what people like Peter Thiel want. And I don't know. I don't know. But that's why they're building all these data centers. That's what they're investing in, which is an even scarier prospect. But this is like techno feudalism. But it's that's what they want. And so the only thing being built right now are those data centers, and a lot of communities are starting to fight back because of just how dangerous they are to those communities. But, you know, as we can see in Missouri, some of those politicians were crooked and were trying to push this and had ties to the data centers, which is so fucked up. But yeah, this is all cope. This is not happening. It's not real. All these fake numbers that Trump's puts out, like, oh, they're investing this billion and that billion. None of that is real. I would love to see what's being built. I would love to see the proof of that. I would love to see the proof of these numbers, but they don't have it. They don't have any. And the proof of what's happening is right in their face, and they keep denying it.
Income growth solid as well, so that the only part of the data that's
okay, so actually I think income growth went up a little bit, but it was less than it was supposed to be. Like, it was less than projected. So they just keep lying. Like, they just keep lying. And there are people who actually just believe everything he says, but they are lying. They just lie. Yes, they just BS, smiles through his teeth and just tells BS. Yes, that's what they do. That's all they do.
Is that the jobs numbers have been a little bit lower over the last 3 or 4 months. But again, Goldman Sachs had a report out yesterday that said that the seasonals of the summer are kind of unusual, and that in August, typically the advanced number is about 60 to 70,000 lower than the final number ends up being.
I want to know if these, like, obviously these people feel no shame whatsoever. They feel no shame whatsoever, and they just go out there and they lie for this man. And I just wonder, like, you know, do they ever feel embarrassed when they just go out and lie for this man that would throw them under the bus in a second? They like act like all, even these tech bros, like all these people are just like, they're like worshiping this man, or they're sucking up to this man, you know, they're licking the boot. And I'm just like, at what point do you have dignity? At what point do you have dignity? At what point do you say, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I shouldn't be lying for this man who doesn't give a shit about me. I don't know. It's just so insane to me how all these people just like kiss his ass. Just like they just keep doing it, and it's insane. It's insane. Techno feudalism, indeed. He calls his corporation Palantir, like in the Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I haven't seen the Lord of the Rings, but I've heard about that. And Peter Thiel is such a scary guy. And it's so funny because when I talk to, you know, my conservative family members, I'll bring up Peter Thiel. I think they know who he is now because I brought him up enough, you know, and I think more people are talking about Peter Thiel now. But for a really long time, it was always like George Soros. And I was like, dude, do you not understand that there are Republicans? Like, listen, I don't know anything about George Soros, really. I don't know. A lot of that calling him out is very anti-Semitic. And so it's the whole like global whatever theory. Yeah, I don't know. It's so stupid. But anyway, Peter Thiel is like literally what they're saying George Soros is, and yet nobody knows about him. Nobody cares. And I'm like, this dude is scary as heck. He is scary AF. He is so scary. He is a villain. He is a movie like villain. He is a sci-fi villain. For me. For real? No, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings. I have a friend who loves it, but I haven't seen it. Yeah, he's just, God, he is just a villain, and it figures that he would name shit after that. I have heard the story of why he calls it Palantir, though. But no, it's just like he's a villain. He's a villain. He is like your typical movie villain, and he doesn't even think humanity should be alive. And if we are alive, we should be here to do the menial work for the 1%, and then that's it. And then that's all. That's it. It's the real life Lex Luthor. Yes, exactly. Like he's a scary man. He is a scary man. All right, and so we need to talk about Peter Thiel more. He's a scary man. But transitioning to another scary man, RFK. So he had a hearing because he fired the not fired, but he was pushing out the CDC head, and because he wasn't allowed to fire them, but he did, and he pushed them out, and then Donald Trump said that he actually fired her because RFK is not allowed to fire her, so Donald Trump had to kind of like cover for him. Anyway, so he was in Congress, and he had this hearing because everyone is questioning him about this, and then they're also questioning him about their new vaccine guidelines, and they're making it harder for certain age groups and people to get, and so that is actually making it harder for people to get it. And then, like, now I guess you have to get a prescription to be able to get the vaccine, like the COVID vaccine, which is insane. That's crazy. But apparently that's what's happening right now. And so he had to go to Congress and get questioned. And these are some of the many crazy, insane moments that happened.
Welcome to the News Hour. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was grilled during a contentious 3-hour hearing before the Senate Finance Committee today.
Senators pressed Kennedy on his stance toward vaccines, questioning whether his actions have restricted access and undermined trust in long-standing public health data and institutions. The hearing turned combative at times, with Kennedy clashing directly with several lawmakers. The confrontation came just a week after his controversial decision to fire the director of the CDC. Lisa Desjardins leads our coverage now from Capitol Hill.
In a small Senate hearing room,
you are a hazard to the health of the American people.
High stakes fireworks.
I never said that. You're making it up. You're twisting. Yeah, you are. You are being dishonest right now.
As Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Reminds me of Vinny when Vinny was yelling at Hassan and he was getting so rad on Piers Morgan. He was getting so rad on Piers Morgan and Vinny was just yelling at Hassan. That's what that moment reminded me of RFK.
Jr. faced his first hearing since being in the job, and since Kennedy upended the Centers for Disease Control, firing his own choice as director and triggering senior resignations.
What we're going to do is reorganize CDC, but also we've already righted the ship at NIH, at FDA, at CMS, and we are going to end the chronic disease epidemic.
It was perhaps the most combative.
They're not. And actually, there was just an article saying that that he was saying that Tylenol. Okay, so sorry, here's some backup information. Let me back up. So before this, there's been a date. RFK Jr. set a date. He said, we are going to know what causes autism by this date. I don't know if that was today or I don't know. But anyway, he said that it was going to happen at this certain date, that they were going to figure out how people have autism, which is an insane statement, okay? Because people have autism and it's not vaccines and it's not whatever he's saying that's causing them. People have autism. And so he's saying, this is what he said today. This is an article that came out today, that they think Tylenol is causing autism. When pregnant women take Tylenol, that is what's causing autism. That is what RFK Jr. came out with today. Now, do I believe that? No. No, I don't. This is crazy. This is insane shit. And his rhetoric is eugenicist, and it's dangerous. And I saw that earlier. You were making a joke. He has been saying, and that's another thing they're going to question him about. Oh, whoops. And something they're going to question him about is that he's saying because the recent school shooter was trans, they might have like detransitioned. I'm not really sure. It was a whole thing. They were a Nazi though, just to be completely clear. And we're very far right, and we're on the very far right forums of the internet. Anyway, all that to be said, now the government is going after trans people, and RFK is saying that RFK and I think Donald Trump are looking at blocking gender affirming care because RFK is trying to insinuate that it causes people to be depressed and violent, which is not true, which is not never been true. He also said the same thing about antidepressants, which is an insane statement. And so this kind of rhetoric is so dangerous. It is so dangerous. And it's eugenicists and like people who are disabled, people who have mental health problems. Like they are trying. They don't think that shit's real. That's essentially what they're saying is they don't think autism's real. They don't think depression's real. They don't think being trans is real. They don't think all these things are real. And so instead, what they're going to do is they're just going to deny you that and say that's not real and tell you Tylenol is the reason that you have autism. That's what's making you have autism. It's crazy. Like it's insane. And again, it's so it's very frightening, honestly. And it's not true at all. And it goes, I don't know. I don't even know what to say because it's a very frustrating thing. It's also scary because I have ADHD and I'm on prescriptions for ADHD. And so I don't I'm terrified of like the future of what's going to happen with mental health resources because he seems to think none of this shit is real. He doesn't think depression's real. He literally said depressants, like antidepressants are making people violent, which is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. It's so insane. Science doesn't work like that. Exactly. You can't deadline a discovery. I forgot to mark my calendar for that. That was hilarious. I really liked that. Hey, Rudy is definitely more insane than RFK though. 100%. He also said doing heroin makes you a genius. I don't think that's in this, but I did hear that he said that that when he did heroin, he was doing really bad in school. And then when he started doing heroin, he was doing really well. And I think I mentioned this in another live, but I actually had a friend that was doing heroin and I didn't know. And she was bringing it into school and everything. And I had no idea until she got caught with it because we had metal detectors out of school. That's when I was talking about it. We had metal detectors at my high school and she got caught with it one day because they looked through our bags as well. And and it was so insane. But I think it's a little delusional, honestly. That didn't really have anything to do with anything. I mean, she was okay at school. I guess I don't really know how well she did at school. We just had theater class together. But oh, bet it does. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's just a little... I think, I don't know. ADHD is worse than heroin. Oh, no, I don't know. Oh, no, I guess it is. No, he does. He thinks it is. Depression is worse or something. She was just super chill at school. She was. No, we were, listen. I honestly, I look back at a lot of my life and I'm like, wow, I should have realized I was queer. I should have realized I was queer in that moment because she was new. She came from Germany and I didn't know her very well, but we were attached at the hip, man. We were attached at the hip. We would go everywhere together and I had no idea. which is crazy when I think about it. But yeah, no, he thinks mental health is worse than heroin, which is crazy because he's like, oh yeah, I took heroin and I did great in school. But then all these other people who are depressed and take antidepressants, that makes them violent. Okay, man, you're crazy. Like, you're crazy. I don't know what to tell you. You're crazy. Okay. Let's keep watching. Wait, a RFK Rudy Pillow Guy cabinet meeting. I would literally, that would be such an amazing, that would be so amazing. That would be amazing to watch. Yeah, where is Mike the Pillow Guy? Where's he at nowadays? What's going on with him? He kind of just got dumped. Oh my God. Not like ADHD, have pills way better on your whole health. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hearing of Trump's second term so far.
You are sitting as Secretary of Health and Human Services? How can you be that ignorant? You're so wrong on your facts.
You're interrupting me, and sir, you're a charlatan.
And that was a Republican. Wait, okay.
That's what you are.
Kennedy argued he's remaking a broken agency, particularly lashing out at pandemic recommendations.
The people at CDC who oversaw that process, who put masks on our children, who closed our schools, are the people who will be leaving.
But senators from both parties sharply rejected parts of his premise, saying Kennedy is the one breaking the system, pushing him on his understanding of basic facts.
Do you accept the fact?
Okay, I watched this kind of beforehand, and that made me laugh out loud. I laughed so hard when they said pushing him on basic facts. They were pushing him on basic facts that he could not answer, that he did not know. Anyway, this is our government. This is our government. This is our government.
That 1 million Americans died from COVID? I don't know how many died. You're the Secretary of Health and Human Services. You don't have any idea how many Americans died from COVID? I don't think anybody knows that. Do you think the vaccine did anything to prevent additional deaths? Again, I would like to see the data and talk about the data.
Kennedy later said it was possible that millions were saved by the vaccine. But mostly, he displayed deep skepticism of vaccines, a belief now having direct consequences around the country. Some national drugstores limited or blocked access to COVID shots after new federal guidelines came out. Florida is trying to end vaccine rules for school kids. 3 states are forming their own vaccine pact, and many other states are in limbo. Senator.
Yeah, this is really scary because like the measles has come back, and in Florida, they're not mandating it for any school kids, which is terrifying because I go to Florida because my best friend lives down there and my family goes down there. So like I do visit. I will be visiting soon. I'm going to visit my friend soon. So I'm a little nervous. Because that's kind of terrifying. It's a terrifying prospect that they're literally not mandated to get any vaccines at all. That's terrifying. They're just saying F it. Let's bring back the measles. People have already died from the measles. Isn't polio coming back now? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, what are we actually doing? This is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. We literally all but like eradicated these diseases, like polios and the measles, and yet we have these. We have this I just want to curse so bad, but I'm trying not to do that because I think it's bad for the algorithm. Anyway, we have this man who literally is just so insane. This insane man who fucking staged a bear in the middle of, what was it? Why can't I think about it? He left a bear. He killed Central Park. Anyway. Insane. This is insane shit. Why are we believing in Central Park? Yes, I know. Thank you. I don't know why it didn't come to me. But this man is crazy. He is insane. He's also a sexual predator, by the way. He's also been accused of SA by one of, I think someone who worked for him. It was either like a nanny or a maid or something. This man is not mentally all there. It's obvious. Okay? He wants to talk about people with mental health issues. He needs to look in the goddamn mirror. He needs to look in the goddamn mirror because his head is not okay. He is not okay. And he has, well, could be his brain worm. I don't know. He's just, God, this is what I'm saying. This man is in charge. This man is in charge. Why? We are such a clown show. This is all this clown shit. Let's just bring back all the ancient diseases. Let's just, who cares? God, it's just like, but there's tallow in the beef. There is tallow in the fries now. Fries are getting fried in tallow. So you know what? It's all good. It all evens out, I guess. Right? God, it's so insane.
Including Republicans, expressed alarm about the lack of data they see to support Kennedy.
You said you're going to empower the scientists at HHS to do their job. I'd just like to see evidence where you've done that.
I've grown deeply concerned. The public has seen measles outbreaks, leadership in the National Institute of Health questioning the use of mRNA vaccines. If we're going to make America healthy again, we can't allow public health to be undermined.
Kennedy and senators used the same words, but often spoke confusingly different languages.
I'm not anti-vaccine. Saying I'm anti-vaccine is like saying I'm anti-medicine.
You are. Wait, no, but you are. You are both of those things. He is both of those things. He is both anti-vaccine and anti-medicine. Are you kidding me? He's been going after antidepressants and mental health medicine for forever. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And I think later when he talks about like numbers and stuff, or maybe it was in another video I watched about this, someone asks him, what other doctors agree with you? Like there are no other doctors that agree with you. Do you know who he said? He said Dr. Oz. He said Dr. Oz agrees with me. Clown show. Just clown show. Just clown shit. Clown shit.
Well, I'm pro-medicine, but I understand some medicines harm people. Some of them have risks.
GOP Senator Bill Cassidy, himself a doctor and the key vote who confirmed Kennedy, raised a specific example of concern from...
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I keep pausing it, but apparently he was like really mad during this hearing because he was the one. He was the last one. He was the one who like confirmed Kennedy, and he made him promise. That he was gonna like still, keep things up and do things like be sane essentially. Of course, everyone else knew that wasn't going to happen because obviously. But, this guy decided to confirm him anyway. And now he's mad because he said that he would make sure that he would look over him and he would make sure that this would happen. And now look, you have egg on your face, bro. Now look at you. Now he's mad, screaming at him in a hearing. No, Dr. Phil. Yeah, no, Dr. Phil.
From a friend.
My wife has stage 4 lung cancer. She's
really
one of the people the COVID vaccine actually helps. Thanks to the current mess at HHS, CVS is unable to get her vaccine. I would say effectively we're denying people vaccine.
Democrat Elizabeth Warren pressed on this.
I'm not taking them away. Everybody can get access to them.
No, they can't walk into a pharmacy the way they could last month and get access.
It depends on the state. It depends on the state.
It depends on the state. So she's correct. It depends on the state. No, you're lying. Well, I mean, it depends on the state. Oh my God.
Another flashpoint, Kennedy's decision to fire the entire board which makes vaccine recommendations, known as ACIP. Kennedy said he made the move to reduce what he calls conflicts of interest.
You replace them with non-experts, vaccine skeptics, and conspiracy theorists. As a result, this critical advisory panel has lost scientific credibility.
What we did is we got rid of the conflicts of interest and we depoliticized it and put great scientists on it from a very diverse group.
Through it all, the secretary remained defiant and insistent.
You are citing data that you won't produce to the public.
You're just making things up. You're making things up.
Yeah, no, I'm glad she said that, because it's really funny, because they keep talking about facts and they have proof and they have the data behind them, and he keeps saying, you're making things up. She literally, as you can see, they have this big ass tweet. They have this big ass tweet of what he said, of what he's saying. They have this big ass tweet of what he said, and he's sitting there going, I didn't say that. No, you did. So I'm glad she mentioned that, like, you are bringing up data that you have no evidence for. You are just making shit up, and you just say shit, and you have no evidence for it. And yet when people who do say facts, they do have the evidence, you're making that up, you're lying. Like, what? Excuse me? You would not even let this guy pump fuel, let alone run the country's health system. Why would anyone approve him? Listen. Everyone, there were all these people. I remember when this was happening, when they were confirming all these people, and there were a lot of people who were like, surely they'll be reasonable and they won't let someone like RFK through. Surely they'll be reasonable and they won't let someone like Pete Hegseth through. Surely they were not reasonable, because of course they weren't. Because they never are. So of course they weren't. And anyone who thought that, oh no, there will be some Republicans who will be reasonable, are you effing kidding me? No, this is always gonna happen. Oh God, no, but it is insane. I honestly, like, it's insane, and it's so dangerous. Like, I'm laughing, but like, this is really dangerous and really scary. This is like terrifying, honestly.
Scare people, and it's a lie.
But multiple Democrats said Kennedy is so dangerous, he must resign.
Yes.
I'm asking the questions for Mr. Kennedy on behalf of parents and schools and teachers all over the United States of America who deserve so much better than your leadership. This hearing is adjourned.
The hearing ended with none of the fire quenched, few questions resolved, and Kennedy returning to the job. At the Capitol for the PBS NewsHour, I'm Lisa Desjardins.
Yeah, I am not going to lie. After talking about a lot of this, it's a very scary future. We have a very scary future ahead. And yeah, no, I am very scared of how this rhetoric is going to keep going, because like I said, it is very eugenicist, because it's essentially saying, like, if you have issues, if you have mental health issues, or if you have any health conditions and they don't think you need medicine for that, or they don't think that's a real condition, then you just can't get that medicine. And it's like a eugenicist argument of we don't think that this is real, and so it's just survival of the fittest. And if we don't think you need this medicine to live, then you don't need it, and it's just survival of the fittest at that point. And it's like the Nazis. It really is. Like, it's a similar rhetoric, and it's terrifying. It's really terrifying, because he believes this shit, man. Like, he believes this shit. He is like certifiably crazy. Okay, it would probably serve him good to have to go to mental health doctors. He probably should. He really should. I think that would benefit him a lot. But God forbid any of these men go to therapy, and any of these conservative men go to therapy. Which is crazy, because they can afford it, right? They can afford it. And yet all of these conservative men are just so, like, insane and just like so like detached from reality. And I'm like, God, you can just go to therapy, man. Like, maybe you should be on some mental health drugs. Like, maybe you should be. But I wanted to talk, so RFK Jr. Okay, sorry. I was looking at the chat. Okay, RFK Jr. literally like killed a bear and then staged it and left it in Central Park, which is psychotic, okay? But Walk Miles said Forest Park over Central Park. Yes, every day. Also, did you know that Forest Park is larger than Central Park? I didn't know that until I went to New York with my friends a couple of years ago, and it was like a fun little fact we learned. Forest Park is bigger than Central Park. Fun facts of the day. Fun fact of the day. I love New York. It's one of my most favorite places in the world. I hope to live there one day. But all right. We're going to get into our next segment. And our next segment is our learning segment. And you know what we're going to learn about today? We're going to learn about the history of vaccines, because I think that is really important after listening to all of that nonsense. So that's what we're going to do today. Elon has a point of pride to not go to therapy. No, and you know, it's not just men. There's a lot of conservatives, and like I've experienced this in my family of like the whole not going to therapy thing. And even when I like start discussing going to therapy, my family's like, you can talk to me, you don't have to go. And I'm like, no, like I don't think you understand. Like I do need to go. Like I do need to go to therapy. Like, no, I like actually, like this is real. But, you know, I think it's like a lot of the this has been something in the conservative movement for a long time, is to not believe mental health is like real and a real thing, even though it is. And we should probably take it more seriously in this country. But, you know, for people who always blame mental health for like the violence in this country and not the guns, like I do think it is partially mental health as well, but like they always want to blame mental health, but then they also in the same breath just don't think it's real. So it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, you did. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I know. I didn't know that Forest Park was bigger than Central Park until I went, and it was a cool little fun fact. Oh, now we're I used to have superpowers, but my therapist took them away. Okay, now, yeah, no, this is not a Biden defending channel. I don't like Biden. I hate Biden. I think it's okay. That's what we're talking about in the chat. Okay, let's keep it going here. So we're gonna do. Yeah, I don't like Biden. I think he's a war criminal, okay? No, I don't. What? Anyway, now we're going to talk about the history of vaccines, because I think it's really important to talk about that in today's day and age. All right. All right.
There are at least 4 to 5 million lives that are saved as a result of being vaccinated, year in and year out. Immunization is one of the most effective, most impactful health interventions in all of human history, and I'd love to tell you why that is and about it. Tens of millions of people, in fact, over the course of human history, hundreds of millions of people died from smallpox. It was a dreaded disease. And in the late 1700s was an amazing breakthrough. A British physician, Jenner, noticed that milkmaids who had been infected not from smallpox, but from a related virus called cowpox, they were pretty immune from getting smallpox. And so he used that observation to, in fact, immunize an 8-year-old boy, James Phipps, using the cowpox virus. And then weeks later, he exposed James Phipps, with of course the permission of his parents, to smallpox, and he didn't get sick from smallpox. And smallpox is a disease we don't have anymore anywhere in the world.
Yeah, for now. For now, just wait. America, RFK's like, RFK is like, hold my beer. Anyway, no, this is by the UN. And so I do think this is really interesting, because I actually don't know a lot about this. So I do think this is really interesting. And I do think it's, like I do think it's wild. It's great that they were able to save that many people, and that, so it says smallpox was eradicated in 1980, and in the previous 80 years it had killed 3 million unvaccinated people, and now it's essentially eradicated, which is such a feat, which is such an accomplishment. And like it's an amazing feat. Like it's an amazing feat, and I think I think we should remember that.
I have polio as well, and this means vaccinating, for instance, in Pakistan, in India, in many other countries, huge campaigns that have vaccinated tens of millions of children in short periods of time. We're now at the point where polio has been reduced by over 99% compared with the way polio used to be before we had vaccines.
Which is amazing, and now I think it's starting to come back in America, if I'm not mistaken, which is a terrifying concept. Which is terrifying. You see people like in those iron lungs, and I don't know how you're not terrified by that.
We're so close to ending this. We're so close to the last few cases. We're so close to ending the transmission of this virus. I worked in a hospital in the country of Haiti, in the capital city, in Port-au-Prince. The pediatric ward in that hospital was full of children who had measles, who had diarrhea, who had meningitis, children who had tuberculosis, children who were born with tetanus. And about a third of children who were admitted to that pediatric ward died on a daily basis. And so many of the illnesses that children came in with were illnesses that were completely preventable with vaccination. It was a really important period for me in my training, in my life, to decide to really devote my career to making sure that vaccines were not only developed for diseases for which we didn't have them yet, but also, perhaps more importantly, that the vaccines that we already have are completely accessible, completely available, completely safe and effective for people in every part of the world, no matter what community you're born in.
And I think that's really, we're gonna get to the next part, but I do really I think that's really important, because I think like in America we're so privileged, and we haven't had to deal with not having access to these things. And so we don't see the effect that it has on a day-to-day basis. And I think we're so far from the history of when tons of people were dying from things like polio and smallpox, that we have seemingly collectively forgotten how important vaccines are, and how important this science is to the world. And just what a feat all of this scientific discovery has been. And, a lot of people, again, I almost fell prey to this, but a lot of people, they want to do everything naturally, which, is not I think when you talk about eco stuff and you want to, cut down on certain things, I think that's great. But when you want to start replacing medicine with natural things that don't always work, then I think that's when we become that's when science starts going out the door, and we start appreciating as much, and we stop believing it as much. And I think that's a problem, and I think that's going to be a huge problem going forward in America, because medicine again is a huge scientific feat and achievement, and we should be proud that as humanity that we've accomplished all of that. But I guess my point was that we look back in time, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, our ancestors didn't used to do this, or the people used to live on the land and they didn't used to do this and they didn't used to do that. But it's they also didn't live that long. You're romanticizing a time where people didn't live as long as they do now. So no, modern medicine is a miracle and is wonderful, and the scientific achievement the scientific achievements that we have are amazing, and we should see them as that.
So we've all been living through what has been an enormously difficult couple of years, this pandemic, COVID-19. And one of the things that the world over, I think everybody knows, is the incredible development in rapid time, in frankly unprecedented time, of vaccines that prevent COVID disease. They work against infection and transmission as well. One of the ways that vaccines have gotten into every country around the world is through the COVAX facility. And the COVAX facility is the mechanism to buy vaccines, which is happening on a billions of dose basis, and get them shipped to countries that need these vaccines that can't buy them on their own.
And I think that's really important. Another thing I wanted to mention is that, she mentioned that that vaccine was in record time. And something that someone asked RFK in that hearing was, so you say that it was dangerous, or you think it was dangerous, or you heard that it hurt more people, that vaccine hurt more people than it helped. But you also said that Trump should get the Presidential Medal of Honor or Peace, or whatever the hell. They always want to give him all these honors and medals or whatever the fuck. They want to give him all this shit. And, or did he say the Nobel Peace Prize for that? The Nobel Peace Prize for Operation Warp Speed? I think it was the Nobel Peace Prize. So they asked RFK, would you give President Trump the Nobel Peace Prize for Operation Warp Speed for the vaccine? And he said, yes, of course, of course I would do that. And then he turned around and he said, okay, but then you also said that this vaccine hurt more people than it helped. So why would you agree with me on that? Why would you give him that award if you really think it hurt people? And he didn't really know how to answer. And it was kind of like word vomit. And so, I don't like Trump. I hate Trump. He's the worst. But that was a good thing. That was a good thing that they did, the Operation Warp Speed. And so I wanted to point that out, because that is a good achievement that happened, and Donald Trump doesn't talk about it anymore because his base will get mad at him, because his base has gotten mad at him when he tried to brag about it. And as you can see, they play this both sides argument of like, oh, it's so dangerous, but also he had this huge accomplishment. It's like, okay, well, which one is it? Which one is it? Because this is not making what you're saying is not making sense.
There are 92 countries that are benefiting. And when we think about low-income countries, over 80% of the doses that are provided to low-income countries are coming through the COVAX facility. We vaccinate against diseases that are transmissible from person to person. And that means that each of us presents some risk to someone else unless we're protecting ourselves through the use of vaccines. So I really think about vaccination as a social equity issue
100%.
And a social justice issue.
100%.
And there's nothing more overwhelming, there's nothing more tragic than a perfectly healthy child who succumbs to an infection that was completely preventable.
Yeah, I just wanted to watch that because I do think it's really important. And I think as we see the vaccine skepticism, not even just for like COVID, but for everything else, for measles, for the polio vaccine, for all these different things that we've eradicated, I think we need to talk about this, and we need to talk about the history, and we need to talk about the achievements that have happened, because this like, if this keeps going, this is going to get worse, and this is going to get very bad, and not like, this is going to get bad, because there's already been people. There was a child who died from measles, I think, not too long ago, and the parents said that they would do it again, that they wouldn't vaccinate their child again, which is crazy after they lost their child. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know. But my family, there was a long time I didn't take the flu shot because my mom has always been skeptical of the flu shot. And so, I had some of this instilled in me too as a kid. And I've had to learn. I've had to, I definitely had to learn my way out of that. yeah, it's honestly terrifying, really. It truly is. Donnie needs that Nobel Prize. Honestly, yeah, he just like, he can't stop talking about it. He can't stop. He's like, I need a Nobel Prize. He only wants it because Obama had it. Like, he only wants it because Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't think he's ever gonna get the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, I don't think he will. And if he does, then that prize means absolutely nothing, because like, he literally just killed 11 people in Venezuela, okay? And he's saying that they were drug smugglers coming to America, but they were not going to America, and there's no evidence if they were drug smugglers or not. And even if they were, okay, well then you know, usually if we were in their waters too, which is, again, all of this is just insane. All of this is just insane. But instead of taking them in like they would have under a different president, you know, which I still probably wouldn't have been okay with, but like taking them in and like arresting them and taking them to court or whatever. Now, no, they're just gonna bomb them. They're just gonna kill them. He literally just killed 11 people, and no one really cares. No one's really talking about it because they're drug dealers, so obviously we just don't care if they die. It's insane, and yet people still want to sit here and be like, he's anti-war, he's pro-peace. Where? When? How? What? Like, this is insane. So no, he's not getting the Nobel Peace Prize. No, nor should he get the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay? Like, are you kidding me? They're literally kidnapping people off the streets. They're sending National Guard to our own cities, to American cities. Like, no, this man does not deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. Come on. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. RFK wants to make viruses great again. Oh my God. Okay. My mom was also a little weird about vaccines, but ultimately trusted doctors. Yeah, that's good. No, I get it. I mean, there are people who are weird about it, and there are. I think it's just, I think in America, it's, I don't know why we have this phenomenon in America, that we don't trust medicine. And I mean, I get it. You know, there are doctors I've gone to, like, that haven't listened to me, and it's been a very frustrating experience, and I have to try to get a doctor who will actually, like, that happens in mental health, I think, a lot. Like, it took me 2 or 3 doctors before they would actually let me get tested for ADHD. And like, it, you know, sometimes doctors just don't believe you, or don't think, you know what's going on with yourself, and that can be frustrating. And I guess you can lose your faith in it, or you can lose your trust in it, which I understand. And so, like, I understand, because sometimes when you don't get listened to, or people, they don't take you seriously, you're like, what the hell? And I've experienced that a couple times, but, I don't know. That's why I thought it would be good to watch a little bit of the history about it, learn a little bit of the history around vaccines, because I do think they are important. And if you're able to, you should go get one. I'm probably going to go get it soon, because I'm going to Florida soon, and I'm a little scared. It'll be good though. I'm visiting my friend. But China first, Indonesia second. Okay, the chat's just this is the most wild chat I've had. Usually I only have like conservatives in my comments. Now I have like centrists in my comments, from all the core shit. Now I have like centrists in my comments. And it's kind of funny. I'm like, okay, man. Like, everyone's just in my comments now. 9 people. Yeah. Okay. I'm a very small creator. I'm very well aware. But I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah. If you want to help me grow, please like and subscribe. And share and all the things. I also have a poll up on my posts of because I'm going to cut down to 2 days. Life's just been really busy. And so it'll help me get more sleep. But also, okay, so anyway, I have a poll on my posts. So right now there's like 3 different days that are tied. So if you want to have some input on when I stream, let me know. And I'll probably pick the days tomorrow and have like a new schedule and stuff. And yeah, so That's what's going on. And that is going to be the end of the stream today. Thank you, everyone who has joined. It's been a very eventful stream. I wasn't expecting the chat to be so spicy. But yes. Yeah, thank you all for coming. I love hanging out with you all. Fridays are fun, and have a great weekend. And I fixed my outro this time. So yes, let's talk about the members. So thank you to my members. Troy Roberto, Queen of Daydreams, Crystal Safira, thank you so much for being members. And if you want to become a member, I do have a membership. I have some videos and stuff on there, but I'm going to start adding more stuff. So yeah, thank you to my members. You said it's the first time you block someone. Yeah, if I could block them, I would. I just don't know how while I'm streaming. So I apologize. But I don't have any mods because I'm just me. But yeah, if I knew how to, I would have. But I'll learn. I'll look it up. All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you all so much for being here. And I will see you next week. And yeah, vote in my poll. And yeah, thank you everyone. I love you all. And see you next week. Bye.